Hi everyone, I'm author Valerie Estelle Frankel, and this is Speed Authoring. In fact, I am the author of 80 books about Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, and whatever I feel like, really. And we can take a look at how I get them done so quickly. They've pretty much all been written since 2011, and how you can do the same. All right, off we go. First of all, obviously, you need a concept for your book. So you ask, what do I have to say? What do I already know a lot about? Can you sit there and say, I really wish everybody knew what I had to say about this? Or, I would be such an expert at giving advice on this. Oh my gosh, if only people knew what I knew about... Yeah. Well, I'm an English major, so as I watch movies and TV, I'm sitting there going, oh, interesting symbolism. Oh, Hamilton musical. I see what you did with the colors there of Eliza's dress. Really hammers home your point. Huh, I'll bet a lot of people didn't notice that because they're just enjoying the musical instead of analyzing the color symbolism. So off I go, and I write a book on the Hamilton musical. Or I already write so much about the hero's journey and the heroine's journey, why don't I pop that into Doctor Who analysis? And yes, I do take a quick look to see if somebody has already written this book. Doctor Who and mythology, somebody else got there first. So it goes. But the benefit to this is if you're self-publishing, you can get it out there in a few minutes if it's an ebook, and a day or two if it's paperback. So I actually could be the first non-licensed person to write criticism on the Wonder Woman movie. And then again with the Captain Marvel movie. Off I went. I've also got a parody here where I squished the 6 Jane Austen books together to make one big spoof about 5 sisters and a cousin truly desperate to get married, and off they go on their silly adventures. So it is a question, what do you have to say on the topic? Has somebody else said it? And of course, is this hot right now? The catch with publishing something after the Wonder Woman movie is, of course, then Wonder Woman decreases in popularity. On the other hand, whenever there's an announcement, a comic book, some interesting thing about Wonder Woman in the news, or of course the sequel movie, my book is ready to go. When the Hamilton musical hit TV, or hit Disney Plus, my book was of course ready to go, as well as 2 others. I've also got an English teacher's guide to Hamilton, where I analyze and show how to teach metaphors and poetry terms and all that, because I figured who likes Hamilton? High schoolers. Who needs to learn literary devices? High schoolers. You could learn literary devices using Hamilton. And off we went. So if you've got a concept, especially for nonfiction, you can go pretty quickly. Step 2, write an entire book. Yes, I am aware this takes some people years, and some people never. All I can say is you write a bit each day, you set goals. By this point, I feel guilty when I'm not writing, including now, so it goes. And you just get used to it, and it does get easier and easier. My first book took forever. My 4th book really took forever. And now, yeah, I am putting out 16 of these books in a good year, and certainly I would like to thank my buddy the caffeine, but also it gets easier. When you're going back into this world or that world or this kind of analysis, You just know how to put it together. Then, of course, you fix it up, have your friends look it over, edit it, do all the spell checking one can possibly do, clean it up. ProWritingAid.com does a lovely job of style checking, incidentally, which can be even better than just a grammar check, as it lets you know about overused words and complicated phrasing and so forth, and places where you should really say it a different way. That was ProWritingAid.com. And then perhaps it's ready to publish. So how do we do that speed writing? Well, I've got a few tricks. I start out, obviously, with my message, the point I'm trying to make. Let's look at how feminism works in Star Wars, or whatever is my top-level concept, my thesis. But then I go out and do my research. I find books, I find online articles, I find stuff like that, and I take lots of notes, put in lots of quotes, and then, if I'm lucky, I've already got 5,000 words, 7,000 words in my Word document. And that's about 1/8 of a book. So, looking, I feel so much more comfortable. Oh, look, day 1, and I've got a big chunk written. Now, I didn't write them, they're quotes, and some of them are going to get deleted or rephrased or replaced with something better, sure, but I feel so much better looking at all these quotes I've got in there and ready to go and all these notes instead of staring at the infamous blank piece of paper. For fiction, I do like to remind myself that I can start anywhere I want. I can write the climax first, I can write the exciting bits, the fun bits, and then when I'm stuck with just the boring bits remaining, where I put in big caps, put a scene here where they talk about their feelings or something like that. Well, then the book is 95% done, so I might as well put in the last few little bits, even if I don't like them, in order to finish up my book. So back to nonfiction. There are ways to space it out and go even faster. Sure, using a giant font is just silly, and adding blank pages is even sillier, but you could think about bullet points and pictures and charts and things like that that actually might add some heft to your book with even easier, quicker writing. There's also resource lists as far as research. If you're looking up, are there already Cinderella stories where this happened? The internet is your friend and will give you all the sources you can think of to construct those notes and so forth. Your book could be 30,000 words. Okay, that's a pretty skinny book, but yeah, you could make that work. And the big thing is to write something every day, a chunk, a bit of notes, something you'll use later, something you might cut, but get something in there. So those are a few encouraging tricks, one hopes. All right, so then we're ready to self-publish, ideally. It says Create Space on the top. It's now called Kdp.Amazon. There's a little old. They rebranded, but it's the same thing. So Amazon self-publishing, and yes, I know Amazon is the evil empire, so it goes. Amazon self-publishing is very quick and easy, and you can have a paperback on sale in a day if you know what you're doing. If you make mistakes, they'll write back and tell you to fix them, and then it takes a little longer, but just a little. They ask for so little information before your book is published. If you look on the left, title info, ISBN, interior, cover, you're done. Remember, a previous step was write the whole book, fix it up, tidy it so it's gorgeous, beyond spell check, have everybody read it over and give advice, all that stuff. Okay, but we've done all that, let's say, and we're trying to self-publish. Okay, so they ask you, caffeine. When I do this presentation, I tend to caffeine up and get perkier and perkier, so it goes. Anyway, title, optional subtitle, author's name or any other names you need, publication date, and that's about it. So there isn't really anything to do here before your book is ready. Certainly you could get an account, you could link this to your Amazon account, ask for bank information so they could give you money. This is a free service. This should not cost you anything at all. In fact, getting published, traditional, any of the above, really shouldn't be costing you. Yes, there are vanity publishers out there, but when these guys will do it for free, might as well. All right. So again, they're just going to ask you these questions on the spot. There's no real point in going in and doing it earlier. They will give you a free ISBN, or if you have one, that's fine, but using their free one is fine. All right. Then you upload your book interior. Now, of course, I use Microsoft Word and then save it as a PDF, but just a Word file isn't actually good enough if it's 8.5 by 11 and so on and so forth. You're going to have to fix it up. What do you put in there? Let me see if I've got a book over here. Figures, I don't. Well, sorry. All right. Here is one of my self-published books. Sure. And putting aside the cover, that means I told Microsoft Word that I wanted this size paper, and that I wanted a blank page, and a half-size title page, and a full title page, and a list of my prior publications, and a copyright page, and a table of contents. Microsoft Word has a lovely built-in table of contents feature that will do all the page numbers for you. And that I wanted a header on the top, and a page number on the bottom. And in the back, I wanted an index. Microsoft Word does a lovely auto index. And a works cited, and my About the Author page, straight out of the TARDIS, of course. All right, so you need to put all that in yourself. Dedication, with this many books I often don't, but you certainly could do a dedication if you want to, and everything else. I recommend grabbing a few books off the shelf and taking a look. See what the front matter, as it's called, looks like. See what you want to do, see what would look nice, and use your fancy fonts. If you Google Kdp template and what size book you want, the internet has already a lovely template that says things like author name here and title here and so forth, but you still might make it look more artistic. The internet also has so many fan fonts and science fiction fonts, images. In this book, all the bullet points are little bow ties because I could. There are so many different things you can do. All right, so again, search up Amazon Kdp interior template, download it. I recommend Word, copy paste your document in, and off you go onto the page numbers, the dedication page, the title page, all the little bits and pieces. And again, copy some off your shelf. Word table of contents, index if you need, back matter, glossary, bibliography, index about the author. Amazon will add as many high-quality black and white pictures as you would like, so that's cool. I know self-publishers, vanity presses that charge for each one. No, you can go right ahead. Lots of people start each chapter off not only with a pretty font, but perhaps a pretty little icon to set it apart. This book doesn't have one. Some of mine do. Alrighty. Yes, I know that was a lot. But again, you just take your Word document and make it look more like a book. Okay, after all that, cover. Amazon has a cover creator that you can just click up and use, and they say give us your art and pick which format you want the cover to look like, and what's your name, what's the title, so on and so forth. Off you go. That's probably easiest. Also, you can Google Amazon Kdp Cover Template and find out the dimensions and make it yourself. I tend to make these myself on a graphics program, and this is called a clip art cover, which means this is, River's notebook clearly, and the psychic paper, and just a bow tie, and I pasted those together with a fan font and wrote what I wanted on it in a nice contrasting color. Your font should be, maximum contrast. And just a few pieces of clip art will do it. This is a cover, as in you need the front and the spine and the back. Or if you use their cover template, they'll take care of this. But if you're making it yourself, you do need to end up with all these pieces. Back to clip art cover, you can see that my Hobbit parody up top, I just did a rubber chicken, a ring, some writing, and a countryside that looks kind of like Hobbiton. And that's it. Arguably, I should have put something solid behind the back cover writing. That would make it a little clearer to read. The Avengers cover, obviously the back cover is a little clearer to read. On the back cover at the bottom, I left space for their barcode. And other than that, I typed the price and the date and age range, whatever. Lit Crit Press is just me, of course. The Avengers cover, it's just kind of a neutral blue piece of art and a hammer. That's it. And font. Outlander, same thing. Well, just standing stones, really. One piece of art. And yeah, that little thistle image there, thistle bit of clip art is my chapter header as well. And there I used the Outlander fan fonts and was having fun with that. You can see the Hobbit fan font and an Avengers fan font and all that. The Harry Potter one is different because there I did actually commission somebody to draw for it. I went to deviantart.com or any indie artist site, looked at some profiles, looked at what some people could do, looked at some people's portfolios, and then messaged somebody and said, "Hi, I really like the cartoons you draw. Could you just draw me a cover that shows Harry Potter looking into a mirror like the 10th anniversary cover," because this is the square root of 10th anniversary edition, haha, "and make it silly and put a flying pig somewhere." And as you can see, he did a gorgeous job with that, and then I slapped on the back cover, and off I went. So that's a few different options. Get somebody to draw it, or you draw it. Get a clip art cover. Use their cover creator, which honestly I haven't, but some of my students have had good luck with that. Of course, any art you download, any clip art at all, must be 300 DPI, as in good quality. If it's fuzzy garbage, it's not going to look good. Even if it looks good on the internet, it won't look good when you print it. And of course, it needs to be something that is royalty-free or something where you own the copyright. I once had a student so frustrated with this and the images she found on the internet that she couldn't use that she just took her camera outside and took a nature photo and used that. Sure. So again, there are so many royalty-free databases. There are free royalty-free databases. There are licenses. There are plenty of options. All right, so this is a cover. And I was discussing a template. This thing up top with the red lines on the white, KDP will have you download this. You tell it how big around your book is, and you tell it how many pages. So really, you can only do this after you know how many pages, which means your book is all formatted and it's done spell checking. It's done with you adding pages in there because the spine thickness is a thing. You could get the front cover done if it's a piece of cover art, but basically if you're doing the whole thing as a piece, you need to know how big the spine is. All right, as I said, Create Space is a bit outdated, but KDP, I just search for KDP Cover Template or Amazon Cover Template, and there it is. And I take this thing, I make it on my graphics program, and you could use anything, Roxio, Corel, whatever, anything you like. I make it transparent, as you can see with the bottom photo, and I put it over my cover. And then I ask questions like, does all the text fit inside the red lines? Is anything in danger of getting cut off? Because I clearly don't want anything cut off. That would just be awful. So I can make sure everything fit inside the red lines if I'm doing my own cover. Again, if you use their cover creator, they should take care of that. All right, so now I've got an interior as a Word file, although I always save that as a PDF. Otherwise, some of the text moves around sometimes, which is very annoying. So I've got my interior, and I've got my cover, and I post those both to kdp.amazon, and I hit done. Amazon reviews it for errors. Amazon asks what country you want to sell it in. I would recommend all of them, I would think. And Amazon asks how much you would like to charge. They set a minimum based on printing costs and making a profit and so on and so forth. And you can choose whatever price you want within that. And they will show you what percentage royalties you get on the spot as you play. Well, what if I made it $10? Well, then your royalties would be this much. Well, what if I made it 12? Well, then your royalties would be this much. So you can play with the little dials and see what you get. They ask if you would like a shiny cover or kind of a buff cover. This one's the buff cover, although I don't know that it's going to show up on the computer. And you can change this after you've published it, but they ask for the paragraph they're going to use to sell it on Amazon. They ask you to put it in a logical category. They ask for keywords. As you can see, this is not traditional publishing. This is more like the copy store. They hit print, but you need your front cover, your back cover, your insides all ready to go. They're not even going to slap a copyright page on it. You do that. And likewise, you write all the exterior content. As you probably know, traditional publishing is you write your book if it's fiction, you write an outline and synopsis if it's nonfiction. You write the most beautiful letter you possibly can. You check what the publisher has for guidelines, whether they're taking submissions. You go to the publisher website and check submission guidelines, and you send them whatever they want, assuming they're the right kind of publisher for this. And then you cross all your fingers, wait a few months or longer, and really hope. As it happens, half my books are traditional published and half are self-published, so I don't seem to have made up my mind a lot. There are perks for both. Traditional publishing gets more legitimacy. Self-publishing is so much faster, and again, sometimes I walk out of the movie and ask, how fast can I get this thing up on the shelves? There are different reasons depending what you want to do. Possibly you don't want to sit here and do all this cover and interior stuff, although yes, you can hire people to do it. All right. We should make an ebook, shouldn't we? My books have slowly had the ebooks becoming more popular. I try to release everything as both, whether traditional published or self-published, and let people decide. With Amazon, if you've done all this, it's easy. They just say, click here, say yes, and we'll make an ebook as well. If you've already given them everything I just showed you, they do it really quick. If you didn't want to do paper at all, admittedly, that would be even easier, because on the interior, they're not so fussed about the page size and all that. I do take my ebook and shorten up the insides a bit. I don't do 2 title pages. I get rid of the blank pages, stuff like that. But you don't need all the page numbers and headers and stuff. They'll do an automatic table of contents. Or Microsoft Word will. They'll take care of a lot of this stuff. So you can just pretty much give them a Word file, and then you can preview it and see how it looks and see if it needs any fixing. And likewise, you can just give them a front cover without worrying about measurements. You just give it to them and off they go. Another thing to consider is acx.com. You can audition actors to make an audiobook if you want to do that. I do recommend the actors who are amazing, gorgeous voices. You can dial up whatever you want. You can ask people to audition, anything like that. And also, they all have the good sound equipment and will give you the files in publishable condition, whereas when I tried doing it myself, the files were not good enough because the laptop kept hissing through the entire performance I did. Very sad. And they quote you a very reasonable price based on the finished product, not the hours they spend working on it. So you could take a look if that interests you. Audiobooks have been so much hotter since the advent of the cell phone, the smartphone. They're just so popular now. So, your book is published at this point. But you could also, on Amazon. But we talked about that Evil Empire thing. Maybe you'd like to also send it to iBooks, Barnes & Noble, Sony, Kobo, Scribd, and everywhere else you can think of. Smashwords.com is a lovely automatic indie ebook publisher. They want a Word doc, for the record, not docx. It has to be the older style doc. You can just do a save as. And they want your front cover. Again, not so picky about size or formatting or whatever, just a JPEG. And you tell them how much they want to charge. And for a very, very tiny fee, or tiny percentage, they don't charge anything, it's just a percentage of sales, they will convert your book into every ebook format, Kindle, EPUB, PDF, anything, and they will distribute it to so many sales channels, but not Amazon. I should add, Amazon gives you some perks if you go with them exclusively, but since they're just a printer, they're not really your publisher, you can sell it on Amazon and non-exclusively, and you can sell it on Smashwords, who will distribute it everywhere. So I tend to do that on most of my books. Do keep in mind for an ebook, charts are a problem and tables are a problem. I would probably save those as a single JPEG, as readable as you can make it. Pictures jump around. Don't embed them in the text, put them like on their own line. Bullet points often don't show up, so you might use little asterisks instead. So yeah, there can be some messiness. Basically, you might have to take a look at your finished product and make some changes. Again, this gets easier with practice. Obviously, if you've just got boring old text, that is so much easier to work with than all this stuff. I do recommend using headers. Those are good for the automatic table of contents. Those are good for automatic organization. So, Smashwords, absolutely wonderful. Here's Smashwords. Again, very simple to do. They just ask, what's your title? When do you want it released? What do you want to charge? How much of a sample do you want to hand out? What type of book is it? What is it about? And you're published. So, let's say we've got our book published in Amazon and Kindle and all the ebook formats all over the web, possibly even an audiobook. Yay. So now we've got this book and we need to tell the world about it. Well, there I am at a Harry Potter convention wearing a flying pig on my head, and people were smiling at the picture-perfect cosplayers, but me, they had to stop and ask, why do you have a flying pig at a Harry Potter convention? So I told them. One person who asked me was a reporter for the Dallas Morning News, and my book got mentioned in the Dallas Morning News, so the little flying piggy earned its $9 price tag. Is it embarrassing walking around with a flying pig on my head? It's also fun. I mean, this was a convention. All right. When I am overwhelmed by the insanity of how do I tell everybody in the universe about this book and get so many sales and just I don't even know where to start, there's just too much to do. Oops. I tell myself, okay, step one is get reviews. And yes, you can do that months before the book comes out, if you have months before the book comes out. I often don't, as I go from, I should write a book about this, to, oops, it's out in 10 days sometimes, or 2 weeks. So I don't even have time for critiquers, let alone pre-reviews. Anyway, where do you get reviews? Well, you could take a look at the Amazon top reviewers, see if anybody is interested in your topic, and message them. You could ask friends and family, but Amazon tends to get suspicious and twitchy about people who have never posted any reviews anywhere except here, and you know, they never review any books, they just did yours because you asked. And likewise, shoppers I've seen go, these look like the person's parents and friends. They really do. You can ask magazines connected with your topic. I have done really well with teen book blogs. Just do a search. Teen book blogs. Because some teenagers and college students do have the time to read, and you, of course, look for teens who, well, are accepting submissions on their book blogs, and also who are interested in your topics. So, a really great way to publicize is to tie yourself to events. When the book is released, that's an exciting event. You could have a party. You can post on Facebook and Twitter and announce your party, invite people to come to a reading. I've posted a reading on YouTube. Come have some junk food with me. Here's pictures from my party. These are all things you can do. Likewise, if you're having days when the book is free or on sale, you can do all that. And yes, Smashwords will do any sale you want anytime, including releasing your book for free or coupons where it's free for some people. Yeah. If you're doing a Goodreads giveaway, that gives you something to announce. Also, did your book tie in well with Mother's Day or gardening season or Talk Like a Pirate Day or anything at all, Free Comic Book Day? Is there any logical tie-in so on that day you can do a big hashtag and, you know, looking for a last-minute Mother's Day gift? My book would be perfect. Obviously, my books tie in well with movie releases and TV releases, so the minute the new season of a DC show happens, I'm tweeting about one of my superhero books. Twitter. You can check what's trending and see if what's trending works well with anything you've got going. Check the keywords that are popular. Also, ask fan groups to retweet your stuff. Goes great. On Doctor Who 50th anniversary weekend, not only did I go to parties and produce blog posts with reviews of the interesting content And then if I have blog posts, those go all over social media, don't they? And my little blurb goes at the bottom where the, about the author is. So you can do your own tie-ins. But anyway, not only did I advertise my book, which was for free that weekend, but I asked Doctor Who fan groups to retweet that my book was free, and that did really well. I had, I believe, 2,500 downloads of my free book. Vary your content. Like I said, I wasn't just posting ads, I was also posting reviews, fun facts, anything that would appeal to my audience that actually showed that I had something to contribute. And now I'm doing lots of Medium posts, and again, and by the way, I wrote a book on this, goes at the bottom. Facebook. Ask people to repost. Join groups on your topic, and check the rules about when it's permissible to post about yourself. Put up pictures, flyers, samples. You can do actual Facebook advertising if you can target the right people. I can, of course, send to fans of Hamilton or something like that. Goodreads. There's so much you can do there. Goodreads is the social media site for books. And once again, they've got all these groups ready to advertise in. In person. I brought my books to holiday fairs, conventions. I speak and get to mention my books, school visits with kids' books, throw a holiday party, and happen to sell your books there like a Tupperware party. All these things are perfectly possible. And yes, I have 2 free ebooks with some suggestions on how to do this. Both up at Smashwords. You can just look up my name. So, thank you for coming.